While the rest of the world was distracted by the flashy demos and the boardroom drama at OpenAI, something much bigger just happened. Quietly, behind a curtain of code. Most people think ChatGPT is just a chatbot. They're wrong. I'm Anya Sharma, and today we're going beneath the surface. I've spent the last 48 hours digging into a hidden update that Sam Altman didn't mention on stage, an update that changes how this AI actually thinks about your data. If you're using AI for work, for your business, or even just for fun, you are likely missing the one toggle that is actually the key to the entire kingdom. If you value your privacy, or more importantly, your competitive edge, you need to see this. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's dive deep. Before we get into the how, we have to talk about the why. OpenAI is currently in a race for survival. They aren't just competing with Google anymore, they're competing with the physical limits of the internet. The secret I'm talking about isn't a new feature. It's a fundamental shift in their architecture called Inference Scaling. In plain English, they've figured out a way to make the AI smarter without making it bigger. And the way they've implemented it in your dashboard is, well, it's genius, but it's also a bit terrifying.
People have very different views of what the big AI risks are going to be. And I myself have evolved on thinking about where we're going to see those. But I continue to believe there will come very powerful models that people can misuse in big ways. People talk a lot about the potential for new kinds of bioterror, models that can present a real cybersecurity challenge, models that are capable of self-improvement in a way that leads to some sort of loss of control. So I think there are big risks there. And then there's a lot of other stuff, which honestly is kind of what I think many people mean, where people talk about disinformation or models saying things that they don't like or things like that.
Sticking with the first of those, do you check for that internally before release?
Of course, yeah. So we have this preparedness framework that outlines how we do that.
I mean, you've had some departures from your safety team. How many people have departed? Why have they left?
We have, I don't know the exact number, but there are clearly different views about AI safety systems. I would really point to our track record. There are people who will say all sorts of things. Something like 10% of the world uses our systems now, a lot. And we are very proud of the safety track record.
But track record isn't the issue in a way, because
no,
we're talking about an exponentially growing power that where we fear that we may wake up one day and the world is ending. So it's really not about track record. It's about plausibly saying that the pieces are in place to shut things down quickly if we see a danger.
Oh yeah. No, of course that's important. You don't wake up one day and say, hey, we didn't have any safety process in place. Now we think the model's really smart. So now we have to care about safety. You have to care about it all along this exponential curve. Of course, the stakes increase and there are big challenges, but the way we learn how to build safe systems is this iterative process of deploying them to the world, getting feedback while the stakes are relatively low, learning about hey, this is something we have to address. And I think as we move into these agentic systems, there's a whole big category of new things we have to learn to address.
You just heard it from the man himself. Bioterror risks, internal uh-oh moments, and an admission that the people holding the keys to the future don't even have a shared definition of the door they're trying to open. So the question remains, should we trust them? OpenAI wants us to believe that this slow takeoff, releasing bits and pieces of the technology at a time, is for our safety. But as we've seen with the inference scaling hidden in your dashboard, the technology isn't just arriving. It's embedding itself into our lives before we've even had the chance to vote on the rules. Sam Altman says we should have caution, but not fear. But when the scale of the risk includes everything from our personal data to the global financial system, perhaps a little fear is the only logical response. We aren't just users in this experiment. We're the data. I'm Anya Sharma. In our next deep dive, we're going to look at the digital replacement, the AI models that are already taking over human jobs, while the world is still debating if AGI is even possible. Hit subscribe, because the future is moving faster than the news can keep up. I'll see you in the next one.